What's going on, guys? Leafy here. Welcome back to the channel. So today I've got for you an NHL video, sort of. So I'm gonna make another channel update video to kind of go over all this. It's probably gonna go out within like the next day or so. But I am gonna be making a little bit more NHL content again, but maybe not exactly what you're expecting, or what I did before. So if you follow me on social media, you know of my social media presence. You probably know that I do a lot with NHL feedback. I talk a lot about just like the game in general, and I ask people for their ideas and their solutions to things, and I just want to like chat with people about the game and like try to come up with like creative stuff that we could get out of it that would make our game better. So I did a Just Chatting stream recently where we kind of, it wasn't really planned that this happened, but this is kind of just where the topic went. And we just talked about NHL and some ideas, and so I have a few videos like this where I'm just talking about NHL, and I think I might do some of this a little bit more often, because I really enjoy it, and I really do. I love the game, even though I don't love playing it so much sometimes, and I really do. I love talking about it. I can sit there and just talk about it and bounce ideas off of other people for hours and hours and hours. So in this video, we're talking a little bit about Be a Pro and a lot about World of Chel. Just some stuff about the hockey bag system and a little touch on a little bit about the build system and what kind of changes we would like to see, and maybe stuff we like expect or don't expect to see happening as well. So I hope you guys enjoy. If you want to like be a part of the conversation, if you have any questions for me or any ideas, you can always put it in the YouTube comments. I read everything. I am an EA game changer as well, so the reason that I like came up with this feedback thing and the reason that I'm known for this now is because I do read everything that people tell me, and I do send it to EA. Like I usually do like a big write-up or something, and I'll be like, hey, this is what the community has to say. So now that I have a YouTube community and people that watch my YouTube channel, because I never did in the past, I have another, area that I can gather feedback from. And so anything, that you have, if you have any input on stuff that's in these videos or that's not in these videos, either way, feel free to send it my way. Additionally, I said again, if you have any questions, I can always go ahead and do like a video like that where I'm answering questions or ask, or like, if you're like, what do you think about this? Then I could kind of go through and do a video where I answer, give my opinions on that kind of stuff. But I hope you guys enjoy this one. I think it's a great, great topic, great conversation, in all of these Just Chatting NHL videos. So I'm excited. I hope you guys enjoy them as much as I enjoyed doing the stream. But if you do, hit the like button, helps me out a great deal. Subscribe if you want to see more content of mine. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Have a good one. Why don't I like playing Be a Pro? I've never really, well, I wouldn't say never. It's been a long time since I've really been into playing offline NHL. I just don't really love the way that the game interacts, plays, and the way that you interact with AI. I just find it kind of boring, and like, I don't know. I think like with the way that NHL is and how like you're constantly, like I said, interacting with like the players on the other team. AI gameplay is like super repetitive and just like really predictable, whereas when you play online, like I think a lot of the fun of it is working around your opponent and your opponent's tendencies and figuring out like what's gonna work against them and like trying to outsmart them or outskill them. But like when you do it against AI, you can't really do a lot of that kind of stuff, and you kind of just have like resort to doing the same thing over and over again for sure, because that's all that works. Like all like deeks and stuff and like cool moves and cool passes, like a lot of the like that kind of stuff, it just doesn't really work against the AI because they either like essentially it boils down to like they react to it a certain way every time, and so it kind of it takes variety out of a game that's already lacking in it, I think. So that's why I've never really been so into playing offline. But at the same time, like I do think the mode's interesting, like the story stuff. I think that stuff's interesting. I really liked that they decided to go through and like add more story to it. I think it was definitely lacking in the past, especially compared to other games. Just during a discussion after a call, have you played the NBA 2K story mode? Not in recent years, but I did like a couple years ago, I think. I'm like familiar with it. You know, you kind of go through and they have all kinds of stuff, and you like, build up your fan base and like your followings and you have like your court that you can upgrade and there's like storylines and shoe deals and things like that. Yeah. I'm like vaguely familiar with how it works. It's been, like I said, a few years since I've actually played through it, but hard to play the NHL Be a Pro when you know how much things are missing. Yeah, I could definitely see that. I mean, I think that they're aware of that now, though, right? Like, they put so much focus on Be a Pro this year, probably like knowing how lackluster it was and how much better it could be compared to like other games. Like, I don't know how the FIFA one stacks up to NBA. I don't know if it's like an EA thing, like if 2K is just better at doing that in general, right? I like, it seems like that's the direction that they want to go. Like, they're working towards it, right? At least as far as like, I can't speak on like the whole integration thing with how NBA's Be a Pro, my player is like the same guy that you use online. Like, I have no idea if that is a direction that they want to take or not. But as far as like you said, that level of immersion, definitely. I mean, they're going in that direction, but I could see why you would feel that way. Hope NHL 22, the announcers announce new break records, more like Gretzky's goal. 50 goals in 30 games. Yeah, so there's some presentation stuff for sure that's also lacking. Like, I think there one of the common complaints that people have, I believe, is that like when you win the cup or something, like the celebrations they're like always exactly the same. And like there's not really like, I don't know, the game kind of just like stops after that, and there's like not really a whole lot of anything going on, and it's pretty lackluster. So I think there's I mean, that's kind of similar conversation, really, is that same level of immersion. I mean, it's crazy with microtransactions, and I don't like that the cost of +1 to an attribute and a t-shirt is the same. I'll always have more basic outfits in NBA because I want all the progression to go. Oh yeah, for sure, I would do the exact same thing. I mean, the microtransactions, like, I think that's something, like, from my perspective, just the way that I view how NHL has gone about their progression system. Because we used to have a grind system for online like that, like where you had to play 350 games to get the best player in ESHL, and they switched to preset builds for the last 6 years, and haven't like wavered or changed on that at all. It makes me feel pretty confident that they don't have any desire to go to a model that's like NBA. As far as like microtransactions and progression that way, because if they did, then they wouldn't have gone like from something that's way closer to that to the complete opposite, right? Like, then it would be doing like a total 180 again. And I think because they've stuck to what they're doing for, like I said, 6 years, and have only expanded on that a little bit, like, for instance, before you only had like custom builds and each one was a preset height and weight. Now you can change your height and weight. Now you have traits, things like that. And now there's like multiple types of traits, and they don't affect the same thing anymore, right? Like, one of them might be a minus in deking, the other one's a minus in wrist shot accuracy or something like that. So they have taken that system that they have and then like expanded on it a little bit to make it more like palatable for people. I don't see any way that I mean, like, I'm not saying it couldn't happen, right? Like, I have no idea, but just based on like the trend of it. It doesn't seem like there's any way that NHL would go in that direction of going back that way, and then also adding microtransactions and things like that. Because there were microtransactions in the old games too, right? Because we had the booster pack things where like you had your boost slots and you could buy those. You didn't like, you could unlock them too, but you could buy them as well. And they got rid of that as so, you know. I think like I would be okay if they added like cosmetic microtransactions to EA SHL if they wanted to. Like, I think it would probably honestly be pretty beneficial to them to add like, everybody hates the hockey bags. It's actually something that I find hilarious when I read the feedback thing, because I always, you know, when you ask questions about NHL and you ask people to talk about what they're most passionate about in NHL, you expect them to say things about like the core game, not even necessarily like gameplay, but like mostly you are expecting things about gameplay, and like the core of the modes, right? Like, what could we add to World of Chel to make it more fun? How can we change it? Like, talking about builds, or as far as HUT goes, like what, you know, sets or events, like things like that. That's kind of what you expect people to talk about. And so many people always mention hockey bags. They hate hockey bags. Like, the community just, I don't know, that they just hate the hockey bag system so much, so passionately. And I actually find it really funny that that's like, it's such a big problem for people, even though it's like just cosmetics and it's not a big deal, that they hate it so much. But anyways, like the whole point of me saying this was that I think that it would be pretty beneficial for them to add a shop, like how most games are doing it now, where there's like a rotating shop of like common items, and then like the first one that comes to mind, I liked how Fall Guys did theirs, or does theirs. They have a daily shop of common items, and then like at the top of it there's like a featured like legendary item that like costs more. And like instead of hockey bags, after a game you would just earn like pucks or currency, then you would use that to buy like whatever you want instead, and from this rotating shop, instead of just hoping that we get bags, right? I think it's a much better system. I mean, that's what games do now. Every game does that basically. Like, I'm trying to think of like what games give you random stuff. Like the first one that comes to mind as far as loot boxes go is Overwatch. I think when you level up in Overwatch, they give you loot boxes that you can get anything in, so it's basically like a hockey bag. But even still, like, there's also currency in that game where you can buy like whatever skin you want. You just can also get it through loot boxes too. But like Fortnite, Warzone, like all those games, they do it based off of a store system now, where like people can buy what they want. And I wouldn't care if you could buy like that cosmetic currency like with real money if you want to. Like, who cares? Just let people do that. And it's just visual stuff. Like, yeah, sure, make money off of that. I don't care. Like, yeah, you know, I'm never gonna pay for it, but I'm sure there's somebody that would want to, like, they just really want this specific thing, and maybe they'll buy it. And it's just visual. So like, I don't know, like cosmetics, that I think it's like the ideal way to put microtransactions in your game, because it's completely optional and doesn't affect the gameplay at all. Hockey bag hater here. I think they need to add more realistic shots sometimes in NHL 22. Yeah, it's definitely something that they're working on. I mean, a lot of the shot animations are like fairly new, right? So they'll probably do that. Not a must-use money. You have to unlock same stuff, but you can choose to do so if you want, as long as it's just visual things. Doesn't matter the game balance. Exactly. Probably have 50 unopened bags because I don't have the patience to open them. That's another thing that people talk about with the bags, is not only the randomness and the fact that you just end up getting like a bunch of goalie gear and garbage that you don't care about, but also that it just takes forever to open them, so like nobody even does anymore. And I mean, it kind of sucks, right? Because like all that gear, like most of it you only see if you play like the specific modes that it's in. But I mean, a lot of people do. Like a lot of more casual players do play those modes, so Totally agree on reintroducing microtransactions to Gear Online too. Why not? Better than grinding to gamble with a hockey bag. Gambling, loot boxes, dice rolling, etc. for perks should be fun and not a grind for. No, 100%, yeah. I don't see anything wrong with it. I don't think people would care. In fact, and there's probably some people that would toss a few bucks at it because they wanted something that's in the shop. And yeah, I mean, it's not really about the grind. Like, that's supposed to be like the fun part of the game, right? So I don't mind. Like, I wouldn't care, let's say, if they kept the bags, but then also added that onto it, right? They can keep the bags and still allow you to get, like, random stuff as you level up or, like, continue playing the game and, like, get, like, experience or whatever. But then they could also just, like, give you some sort of system where you can actually, like, get things that you want. Like, maybe after every game you play, you get some sort of currency, and then that currency you can use in the shop. But then after, like, every couple levels or something, you also get a bag, or, like, a special bag that gives you, like, a higher chance of getting something, more rare, or something like that. Just like packs and coins. Yeah, pretty much. Except, in this case, like, so with Hut, you earn coins, then you can use coins on packs in the store, or cards on the market. And this would be, there would be no market. Like, you wouldn't be buying a Toronto Maple Leafs jersey from some other player. It would be like a set rotating store from EA that you would just, like, redeem your points in. But then you could still get packs, I think would make sense. Just some sort of storefront, just any sort of storefront, and then you could, and then, like, whatever this currency is, like, let's just call it pucks, right? This pucks currency, you could buy, like, a certain amount, like, let's say $5 gives you, like, I don't know, 1,000 pucks or something like that, and then you can use those directly in the store if there's something you want, like I don't know, a jersey that looks like a suit, and you're like, this is amazing, I want to use this on my ones player. You could toss a few bucks in, and then you could buy it if you didn't earn enough pucks to buy it, because it's a legendary item and it costs more. I think that's 100% the way that they need to go about doing the World of Chel system. Like I said, it's honestly shocking how passionately people hate hockey bags. Like, it's just, it blows my mind. Because, like I said, when you ask for feedback, you expect people to talk about the core things about the game. Gameplay. Like, the details about the modes. Things like that. And then, all of a sudden, you get, like, a ton of messages that are hitting you with, take out hockey bags. And you're like, man, I never would have thought that people are so anti-hockey bag that this is the first thing that they come to mind when I'm like, what do you dislike about World of Chel? I fucking hate hockey bags. It's great. But I mean, I love the passion. Maybe go to the level of Fortnite Skins, get Spider-Man out there in 1v1 diving in ones and doing a diving dab, dude. That would be, you know, I think there's something there with that. I really do. Even in not ones, right? Because that wouldn't affect 6v6. Like, imagine you're playing a sixes game and somebody scores and they zoom in on their player and underneath their helmet it's Spider-Man. That would be hilarious. That would be so good. No, even if it wasn't casual, right? Like, I don't see anything wrong with that. There's nothing, like, it doesn't affect the game. It's not affecting the visuals of the game. It just zooms in on the player afterwards, because you don't, you're always looking top down. And it, maybe you could say it looks, maybe it would be distracting, but, like, I think that would be hilarious if if people had, like, masks or something where you zoom in and all of a sudden, like, somebody's wearing, like, I don't know, just like a zombie mask or something like that. I mean, in terms of, like, Marvel stuff, obviously Fortnite has the partnership with Marvel, so, like, they can get real characters in there and stuff. But, like, imagine, like, you get scored on in an LG game and there's just somebody with, like, a baby Yoda on their face. Like, that would be so funny. Oh man, that's such a good idea. You know, I don't know how they would, you know, as far as like licensing going and stuff like that. But obviously they do have some partnerships, right? Because they did like the Frosted Flakes thing, and they have like some advertisements like that in the game. That like, you know, you would score a goal, and all of a sudden like the person's wearing a Tony the Tiger mask. Oh man, that would be hilarious. That would be so good. That would be really good. I think there's something there. I'm gonna write that down, and I'm gonna ask people about that. If on the podcast, I'm gonna ask some World of Chel people what they think of this. Oh, that's such a good idea, man. Because I think one of the issues with World of Chel cosmetics is that people that play EASHL, they don't really benefit from them at all. Like, you have the sticks and the skates, but like most of the art that you can get in there, like the really flashier stuff, is gonna be jerseys, right? Um, like there are some flashier skates for sure. The sticks are like not super noticeable unless you have one that's really really colorful. Um, and you know you can't really do a whole lot about the jersey thing because it's an ESHL, so like obviously everybody's wearing the same jersey. So that, you know, that's such a good idea. Way to get um like cosmetics into the game, but in a way that's not super, I don't know, like intrusive. Like it doesn't affect the gameplay. It needs to be subtle, but also like there at the same time that people, when it does come up, people are like, man, that's good. Like, you know, like I mean, I think as far as the what do they have, the intros at the start of the game, um right before the game, like, you know, everybody has like their, when you they zoom in on like the line, and you'll see guys just like doing pull-ups with their stick, like in like midair, you know, and I think those are pretty funny. Like some of them are pretty funny, and it's just like a subtle way to get that kind of thing in there. Like those are really good, and like goal celebrations, of course, are good. Those are good cosmetics that are definitely like something people get excited about in the shop. Um, I mean, I think they could definitely do more than that. Obviously, like you know, you think of Fortnite, and they've got like a Fortnite dance for like literally everything, right? Literally everything. Yeah, if that skin cost the equivalent of $5, 100%, yeah, 100% people would buy that. And like, you don't have to do like licensed characters. Obviously, you could just do like, I don't know, like animals, or like just like funny looking stuff. I don't know. You know, it would also be funny if you could buy like the face of a player. You know, like instead of having a mask, there's like cosmetics where you could like, you buy like Ovi's head. So then when you score and it zooms in on your player, you're Ovechkin. I think they have that in NBA. I think they have that in NBA where you can be or yeah, or you're like, I could be Austin Matthews and have his mustache. Yeah, that's good too. And that's easy, right? Because they have the head models in there. There's no way that's difficult for them. That was a good idea. Obviously, they obviously fire more silly with player interests, or why not? Yeah, exactly. I mean, like some of the jerseys, like the you know, the ones jerseys that you can buy, like there's some pretty funny ones in there. There's some stuff they've gone pretty out there with that stuff. But like I said, you don't ever see it unless you play those modes. If you only play ESHL, none of that matters at all to you. So you know, I think there's clearly, I mean, you know, we're coming up with some ideas here. There's definitely a lot of ways that you could get more stuff in there, and it's stuff that I think, you know, they're like super little things, but definitely something that people could get excited about. I would buy it, you know, like if maybe I wouldn't spend real life money on it, but I would want to grind to have the Austin Matthews mustache on my player. Like if it says, like if it's specifically like not one that you can get just from your normal facial hair settings, and it's literally like Austin Matthews. Yeah, those are just such little things, and it wouldn't affect the game at all because like as you're playing it, you don't know what your character's face looks like, and then all of a sudden like you score a goal, you zoom in, and it's funny. It's funny. Like there's just a little thing that makes people crack and smile. That's so good. But yeah, I think they do that thing in NBA, where you can literally just like you're my player, it can just be like Kobe Bryant or something. Patrick Kane playoff mullet, yeah, I like it. I like it. Those little things make all the difference in the world. Game immersion is huge, and those little, yeah, 100%. Those little things do have to do with that. Like, it seems so silly, right? But like, you see how much money, like, free-to-play games make, and all they do is sell cosmetics. They don't sell anything else. You don't have, like, you can play the game at 100%. And have the exact same gameplay experience as every single other person who, like, whether they spend, thousands of dollars on Fortnite skins or zero, you have the exact same gameplay experience. And so it doesn't, they don't handcuff you at all whatsoever. And you're in. So, and you see how much money that, like I said, those games make, because, like I said, with Fortnite, they sell skins, they sell dances, they sell sprays, whatever. They don't sell the game. I mean, they have the battle pass, obviously, and like, but that's also still all cosmetics. It's all cosmetics. And I mean, it's the biggest game ever, right? So, obviously it's huge, and people really do care about those things, and there's no, like, obviously they're not going to make as much money as Fortnite off of it. Like, that would be absurd to think that, all of a sudden, like, NHL puts World of Chel skins in their game and they're making Fortnite money. But like, what if but what makes you think, like, if it works for bigger games, like, it works for smaller ones too, just on a smaller scale. Can grow within the game itself, thinking getting a Nashor skin akin to Ninja getting his own on Fortnite. Yeah, that too, right? I mean, they obviously have some, partnerships with people, because I think, like, people have done the, like, hot team of the weeks or whatever. Or squad battles. They've gotten, like, content creators in the game from with squad battles. So, like, they have, like, ways to do that, right? And there actually are some game changers. I don't have one because I've never, like, the 2 events that I've been to, we didn't do the face modeling. But there actually are some game changers who they have their head models. Like, I know Nuge, they have his head model. Imagine how funny that would be if they had a featured Nuge head it's not even in the game, right? It's not in the game. They never added them into the game. But imagine how funny that would be if one week Nuge was, like, the featured in the shop and you could buy Nuge's head. Like, the entirety of LG would be Nuge. The whole thing. It would be so funny. It would be so good. I gotta write all this out and pitch this to them, man. Like, this would be so good. I mean, like you said, it's just those little things, little details that make people smile in games, that can really make a difference.